Imagine waking up tomorrow and realizing you could own a full-sized house in America for the cost of a used Honda Civic. Sounds fake, right? Some Craigslist scam or one of those haunted house with 16 disclaimers deals. But here's the twist. It's not fake. It's Texas. Yes, while half the country drowns under six-figure mortgages and 30-year loans that feel like life sentences, there are towns across the Lone Star State selling homes so cheap, you'll double-check Zillow to make sure you're not hallucinating. We're talking houses under $150,000. Sometimes under $100,000. And in rare cases, believe it or not, even less. But here's the catch. Every bargain comes with a backstory. Some of these towns are peaceful, hidden gems where you can stretch out, breathe fresh air, and never hear the word HOA again. Others, well, let's just say the houses are cheap because the neighbors include mosquitoes the size of helicopters, potholes deep enough to swallow small cars, or unemployment rates that make you question reality. Today, we're diving into 22 Texas towns where home prices are so low, you'll think it's a joke. But this isn't just numbers on a screen. This is about culture, lifestyle, crime, weather, and whether you'd actually want to live there once you learn the full story. Stick around, because one of these towns might just make you pack your bags, and another might make you sleep with one eye open. Oh, and if you're already hooked, smash that like button so the algorithm doesn't bury this video under cat compilations. Subscribe if you want your escape plan kit for modern life. Okay, let's jump in. Number 22. Harlingen, Texas. Deep in the Rio Grande Valley, just a stone's throw from Mexico, sits Harlingen, a sun-soaked town where the median home price is about $136,000. That's less than some people's down payment in Dallas. Palm trees sway, tacos are on every corner, and the sunsets look like someone painted the sky with fire. Sounds like paradise, right? But Harlingen has its quirks. Crime rates sit about 35% higher than the national average, mostly theft and car break-ins. The job market? Let's just say modest wages run low, unemployment stays above average, and many young people leave for bigger cities. One Redditor described living here as like time traveling to 1998, except Blockbuster's still closed. It's cheap, sunny, and laid back. But you'll spend summer sweating through your shirt by 9 a.m. and winter wishing your AC got frequent flyer miles. So the question is, would you trade high mortgages for cheap tacos and low bills, even if it means triple locking your car every night? Number 21. Mission, Texas. Just west of Harlingen is Mission. And yes, it's just as affordable. Homes average under $100,000, and rent sits around $750 for a two-bedroom. That's not a typo. You could pay off a home here for less than a year of San Francisco rent. The culture is rich with Tex-Mex food, mariachi music floating through the neighborhoods, and retirees mixing with young families. But here's the problem. The weather doesn't care about your comfort. Mission sees 200 days of sunshine a year and triple-digit summers that will melt your shoes onto the pavement. The job market? Agriculture, healthcare, and retail dominate. Tech jobs? Almost non-existent. And nightlife? Forget it. By 10 p.m., it's tumbleweeds and quiet streets, unless you count burnouts in the H-E-B parking lot. Still, for people who love slow living, cheap housing, and tacos that taste like heaven, Mission feels like stepping into a postcard. But could you handle the heat? And I mean, your phone just fried on the dashboard heat for affordable housing. Number 20. Eagle Pass, Texas. Want a border town with culture so strong it feels like two worlds at once? Eagle Pass delivers. Homes average just $89,000. Cheaper than a new Tesla battery. From your porch, you can literally see Mexico across the Rio Grande. The culture is colorful, the food scene unmatched, and locals insist it's safer than outsiders think. Crime stats back it up. Eagle Pass is actually safer than Austin. Yes, you heard that right. But it does come with challenges. The heat is brutal, jobs are limited, and you'll get raised eyebrows every time you tell people you live on the border. The reality? It's slower, friendlier, and cheaper than most of Texas. But you better love 100-degree summers and explaining to your relatives that no, you're not in a crime documentary. Would you live on the border if it meant a full house for under $90,000? Number 19. Brownsville, Texas. If Texas had a secret gateway city, it would be Brownsville. Located right at the southern tip of the state, Brownsville is historic, vibrant, and shockingly cheap. Homes average about $150,000, and the cost of living is nearly 25% below the U.S. average. The town buzzes with Mexican-American culture, colorful festivals, and beaches only 30 minutes away on South Padre Island. But here's the trade-off. Brownsville ranks high in poverty, and jobs are heavily tied to seasonal tourism and border trade. Still, with palm trees lining the streets, tamales on every corner, and homes cheaper than a new F-150, Brownsville is tempting. But would you choose paradise with lower wages if it meant never worrying about rent again? Number 18. Abilene, Texas. Step out onto Abilene streets and you'll find classic Texas charm. Cowboys, churches, and barbecue smoke drifting through the air. Median home prices hover around $150,000, and rent sits just under $900. Abilene is a city of faith, family, and surprisingly good universities. The job market leans on education, healthcare, and the military. Crime rates are moderate, cost of living is low, and the community is strong. But Abilene's not for everyone. Entertainment options are thin. Nightlife basically doesn't exist, and summers are scorching. Winters? They come with the occasional ice storm that makes driving feel like playing bumper cars. It's affordable, reliable, and proud. But would you thrive in a place where the biggest event of the week is a Friday night football game? Number 17. Wichita Falls, Texas. And then there's Wichita Falls, the city that feels like a town but with full amenities. The median home price? $116,000. It's got a university, hospitals, parks, and even an artificial waterfall built just so the city name makes sense. Wichita Falls is a bargain compared to Dallas or Houston. But here's the reality. Wages lag. Growth is slow. And the city hasn't seen the explosive boom of Austin or San Antonio. Still, where else can you get the convenience of city services with the price tag of a rural town? Wichita Falls is a hidden cheat code. If you don't mind trading glamour for practicality, would you pack up and move here for a house that costs less than a year's rent in Brooklyn? Number 16. Plainview, Texas. Plainview sounds like a joke someone forgot to finish. And honestly, that's kind of the vibe. Wide open skies, farmland stretching forever, and homes averaging about $110,000. If you're the kind of person who needs peace, this is your sanctuary. You'll wake up to the sound of wind, maybe a distant tractor, and absolutely nothing else. Groceries are cheap, neighbors wave whether they know you or not, and sunsets will make your phone's storage fill up fast. But here's the flip side. Plainview's population is shrinking. Young people head for Dallas or Lubbock the second they graduate. Jobs are limited. Agriculture dominates, but automation is cutting back. And when people say downtown, they mean 2 blocks of old brick buildings that look like time stopped in the 1980s. It's safe, it's quiet, and it's affordable. But it can also feel like the town forgot to hit the update button. Would you settle down somewhere peaceful but frozen in time? Number 15. Kingsville, Texas. Kingsville is home to Texas A&M University, Kingsville, and the world-famous King Ranch, which is so massive it makes Rhode Island look small. Median home price? Around $120,000. This is where cowboy culture meets Gulf breezes. The King Ranch is legendary. 825,000 acres of cattle, horses, and history. Imagine living in a place where ranch trucks outnumber Teslas 20-1, and where a barbecue can turn into a full-blown rodeo without warning. But Kingsville comes with quirks. Summers? Brutal. Hurricanes? Always a possibility. The local economy is tied to the university, the Navy base, and ranching. So if you're not in one of those circles, jobs can be scarce. Still, Kingsville has something special. History that feels alive. The ranch, the traditions, the small town festivals. It's Texas distilled into one place. Would you risk hurricanes for the chance to live in cowboy country on a budget? Number 14. Mercedes, Texas. Mercedes calls itself the Queen City of the Valley. And you know what? She's a thrifty queen. Homes here average $120,000, and the cost of living is about 30% lower than the U.S. average. The town is known for livestock shows, rodeo culture, and its famous outlet mall that pulls in bargain hunters from all over South Texas. Seriously, people drive hours just to shop here. So if you move to Mercedes, expect to hear, "Wanna go to the outlets?" at least once a week. But cheap living comes with catches. Wages are low, infrastructure struggles, and the heat? Imagine standing inside an oven while someone points a hairdryer at your face. That's Mercedes in July. Still, the charm is undeniable. Community pride, rich traditions, and enough space to actually breathe. Would you endure oven-level summers for a house cheaper than a luxury SUV? Number 13. Marshall, Texas. Marshall is a slice of old Texas, with homes averaging $115,000. The town is dripping with history. Civil War landmarks, antebellum homes, and one of the most photographed courthouses in the state. Walking downtown feels like stepping back in time. Brick streets, gas lamps, and old churches give it that nostalgic charm that makes people want to take engagement photos there. The annual Wonderland of Lights Festival turns the whole city into something out of a Hallmark movie. But here's the trade-off. Jobs are scarce, wages are low, and the town hasn't exactly reinvented itself for the 21st century. It's beautiful, yes, but it's also stagnant. A place where people are proud of the past, but uncertain about the future. If you love history, tradition, and slow living, Marshall is a dream. But if you need career growth or modern buzz, you might feel like you're living in a history museum. Would you sacrifice opportunity for postcard charm? Number 12. Beaumont, Texas. Beaumont is a Gulf Coast city where the median home price is about $128,000. And that's in a city with over 100,000 people. Affordable city living, right? Well, sort of. Beaumont has personality. Cajun food, a mix of barbecue and gumbo, and a port that makes it a key hub for shipping and energy. The culture is fun. The food is amazing. and you'll never run out of things to eat. But Beaumont has a big wet problem: floods. Hurricanes and tropical storms slam this city so often that locals joke about sandbags being seasonal decor. Insurance premiums are sky high, and entire neighborhoods have been wiped out by flooding more than once. It's cheap because risk lives here. For every affordable mortgage, there's the looming question: will your house survive the next storm? Would you gamble with hurricanes for a shot at affordable city living? Number 11. San Benito, Texas. San Benito is one of those towns that proves cheap doesn't mean boring. Homes here average around $100,000, making it one of the most affordable spots in the Rio Grande Valley. This is a place with culture baked into every street corner. Known as the birthplace of Tejano legend Freddie Fender, San Benito celebrates music, festivals, and food like it's in the town's DNA. Imagine strolling through the plaza, live music drifting on the breeze, and the smell of tacos and tamales in the air. It feels alive, colorful, and authentic. But there are trade-offs. Job opportunities are slim, and wages run lower than the Texas average. The economy leans heavily on retail and local services, and younger people often leave for bigger cities with better prospects. Summers, scorching. And like its neighbors, hurricanes are always a threat. Still, San Benito delivers community. Neighbors look out for each other. Families gather for music and food, and culture runs deeper than the Rio Grande itself. For some, that's worth far more than a fat paycheck. Would you pick community and culture over cash and career? Number 10. Borger, Texas. Welcome to Borger, a Panhandle refinery town where the median home price hovers around $120,000. Sounds like a deal, right? But here's the thing. In Borger, the skyline isn't made of glass towers or church steeples. It's smokestacks. Borger was born in the 1920s oil boom, and a century later, oil and industry still define the town. Locals joke that you can smell the jobs in the air. For some, that's security. For others, it's a deal breaker. The faint whiff of chemicals drifting across town isn't exactly what Zillow puts in the listing photos. Life here is working class. People are tough, proud, and community runs deep. Schools are decent. Crime rates are lower than the Texas average, and Friday night football still pulls the whole town together. The catch? Diversification hasn't really happened. When oil's good, Borger thrives. When oil dips, everything slows. And unless you're tied to energy, there's not a ton of opportunity. So would you take cleaner air and higher bills elsewhere, or live in Borger where it's cheap, steady, and maybe a little smelly? Number 9. Pampa, Texas. Drive about an hour east of Amarillo, and you'll find Pampa, a flat-as-a-pancake panhandle town where the median home costs just under $130,000. What's life like? Picture a Norman Rockwell painting with a Texas twist. Friday nights revolve around high school football. Saturdays are for diner breakfasts, biscuits and gravy served by someone who's probably known you since you were in diapers. By Sunday, half the town is at church. Pampa is tight-knit, affordable, and safe, but it's also isolated. Entertainment options? Unless you count deer hunting, fishing, or hanging out at Walmart, there aren't many. The winters bring ice storms, the summers bring scorching heat, and the wind never really stops. Here's the upside. Community. If your car breaks down, someone's stopping to help. If you need sugar for a recipe, your neighbor will hand you the whole bag. The downside? Everyone also knows your business. sometimes before you do. Would you trade privacy for community and big city costs for small town charm? Number 8. Vernon, Texas. Now, let's head to Vernon, tucked away in North Texas ranch country. Homes here average $120,000 to $130,000. At first glance, Vernon looks like the kind of quiet town where time runs a little slower. Ranchers work the land, retirees enjoy wide porches, and neighbors greet you with a wave every time you drive by. Peace and space are the selling points here, but Vernon is not without struggles. Jobs are limited, wages are lower than the state average, and younger people often pack up for Dallas or Fort Worth. For families and retirees, it's affordable heaven. For 20-somethings chasing opportunities, it feels like hitting a dead end. The good news? Vernon is safe, welcoming, and has plenty of open space. The bad news? You might run out of things to do by the second week. Would you pick serenity over success if it meant owning a house outright? Number 7. Big Spring, Texas. Big Spring is a West Texas city with a median home price of about $120,000. And here's the thing about Big Spring. The name is bigger than the town. This place is pure oil country. The economy rises and falls with crude prices, and so does the vibe of the whole community. Boom years bring energy and jobs. Bust years bring silence and boarded-up storefronts. But there's beauty, too. The wide skies are breathtaking. Sunsets explode in color across the horizon, and the land is ruggedly gorgeous. If you can overlook the dust storms that feel like nature personally sandblasting your car. Big Spring is a gamble. You'll live cheap, you'll live with space, but you'll also tie your life to one of the most unpredictable markets on earth. So, would you risk your stability for cheap living in the oil patch? Number 4. El Paso, Texas. Now, let's talk about a place that breaks all the rules. El Paso. It's not a tiny forgotten town, it's a full-on city with 500,000 people. Yet the median home price sits around $180,000. Which is jaw-dropping compared to Austin or Dallas. El Paso is a cultural crossroads. You get authentic Mexican food so good, it'll ruin Taco Bell for you forever. Stunning desert sunsets framed by mountains, and a slower, friendlier pace than bigger Texas cities. It's one of the safest large cities in America, and the cost of living is 23% below the national average. But it's not without quirks. Wages are modest. Water scarcity is a looming issue, and growth hasn't kept pace with other Texas metros. If you're chasing Silicon Valley energy, you won't find it here. But if you want city amenities, schools, hospitals, entertainment, at small-town prices, El Paso is a cheat code. Would you trade high-paying opportunities for low-stress, mountain views, and tacos that make you cry happy tears? Number 2. Killeen, Texas. If you want cheap homes with growth potential, Killeen is a serious contender. Median home price? Around $200,000, still below the state average. The catch? This city lives and breathes military. Killeen sits right next to Fort Cavazos, formerly Fort Hood, one of the largest military bases in the U.S. That means constant turnover of families, businesses catering to military life, and a population that always feels in motion. It's diverse, lively, and always changing. The upsides? Location is great, near Austin and Waco. Housing is affordable compared to those cities. The community is energetic, and there's always something happening. The downsides? Schools struggle under the pressure of constant change. roads feel crowded, infrastructure strains, and if you're not military or tied to it, you might feel out of place. Killeen is affordable, bustling, and full of opportunity, but also chaotic. Would you thrive in a town fueled by military energy, or does that sound like too much churn? Number 1. Rural Texas, Stonewall and Crockett counties. And finally, we reach the grand finale. The place is so cheap, you'll think we're making it up. Counties like Stonewall and Crockett, where homes can sell for under $60,000. Not as a down payment. The entire house. Here's what you get. Land, peace, and space. The kind of quiet where you can actually hear yourself think. Wide skies, starry nights, and property taxes so low they'll make you laugh. But before you pack your bags, let's be real. Services are almost non-existent. Grocery stores? Sometimes 30 miles away. Hospitals? Even farther. Internet? Spotty at best. Job opportunities? Forget it. These places are cheap, not because they're undiscovered gems, but because most people have already left. They're ghost town quiet, cut off from modern convenience, and likely to stay that way. For some, that's a nightmare. For others, it's the dream. Freedom, independence, and a chance to live off the grid. If you've ever fantasized about escaping modern chaos and trading it for dirt-cheap land, these counties are calling. Would you vanish from modern life for a $50,000 house in the Texas wilderness? Before we hit the ending, here's the deal. If you've made it this far, you're clearly into discovering these hidden gems. So do me a favor. Hit that subscribe button. One click means you'll never miss the next deep dive into America's most surprising towns, cities, and secrets. And honestly, it's free. Cheaper than any house on this list. So there it is. 22 Texas towns and counties where home prices are so low you'll think it's a joke. From refinery towns with smokestacks on the horizon to coastal cities where hurricanes keep insurance companies sweating, every spot has a story. Some are bargains waiting for the right buyer. Others are cautionary tales disguised as too good to be true. But the bigger truth? Texas is more than Austin condos and Dallas McMansions. It's full of small towns, overlooked cities, and rural corners where housing is still, somehow, affordable. Now the question's on you. Which town would you actually move to? Would you take Whiteface's quiet, Port Arthur's storms, or El Paso's desert sunsets? Drop your answer in the comments. And tell us if you'd really pack up tomorrow. And if you thought this was wild, stick around. Because in the next video, we're uncovering places in America where you can still buy land for less than $100. Yes, an entire plot of land for less than the price of a night out. Cheap houses, cheap land. The dream's not gone. You just need to know where to look.